Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa. Get your education booklet in our daily newspaper, street sales, or at your school every Monday to Thursday for pre-primary up until grade 3. The lessons are for listening or watching online. Inside the newspapers, there is an insert of the lesson booklet. Please cut the top of the lesson booklet with a pair of scissors and fold it for ready to use. But there is more. We are also available on our online platforms, MyZone and Zoshi Facebook pages, and in addition, our website, Zoshi Online. Hello, grade 3s, and welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa, and thank you so much for joining me today. Our theme this week is culture and traditions. And before we get into any lessons, boys and girls, we need to sanitize. Now remember, when we sanitize, we are not only protecting ourselves, but also the people around us, so that we can stay far away from coronavirus. For today's lesson, we will be doing multiplication and 3D shapes. For our first exercise, grade 3s, please can we turn to page 28. On page 28, we are going to be doing some multiplication. Now we're going to do it in a different way for number 1, number 2 as well. So let's focus on number 1. We are going to do B together. Now multiplication is just adding and adding and adding. So we are going to add for B. Here you can see that I have my 3's all set up, and what I'm going to do is count them so that I can make the multiplication sum. So let us count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6. That means that our sum is going to say 6 times 3. So we have changed it from adding to multiplication. And now that we have done that, we're going to use the adding type of way to multiply. Now we need counters for this. So I am going to take how many counters? Only 3. I will take 2 blue ones and 1 red one for my answer. Remember, boys and girls, a counter can be anything. These are just simple bottle tops. You can count with pencils, you can count with colors, you can even count with sweets. So I have chosen my bottle tops and I have 3. Every time I get to the third one, that would be my answer, and as I go along, I will be crossing out so that I find out what 6 times 3 is. Are we ready? Okay, you're going to do this with me. Count out loud so that it makes sense. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. So we are going to cross out the first 3. And we're going to count on from 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are on 6 now, and we have crossed out our next 3. 7, 8, 9. So we are on 9 now, and we're going to cross out our 3. 10, 11, 12. So now we are on 12 and we'll cross out our 3. 13, 14, 15. And we are going to cross out that 3 because we've already counted it. So we are now on 15 and that means we are counting the last 3. Let's go. 16, 17, 18. So our answer is 18. Now, boys and girls, now that we have our answer, it means that if we say 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is the same as saying 6 times 3 because our answer will be 18. Now I want you to practice this one even after you are done with number 1. Now let's move on to number 2. For number 2, you are only going to write the answers. That means that you're going to have working out paper for each one. If you'd like to use the adding method, go ahead. And I'm going to let you do that one by yourselves. Now let us go to number 3. Number 3, we are breaking the number in 2 equal parts. That means that we're going to take one number and share it in 2 equal parts. Now I have chosen for us to do E together. So let's take a look at the board. Here we have E and it says 16 equals. Now I have put 2 boxes because I want us to share it equally. We're going to count. When we put 1 here, we must put another one here. So if this is 1, then we must put another one here, but counting it as 2. So let us continue. We have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now I have shared the 16 between 2 items. So the trick here, my dear children, is to make sure that we get the same answers for each box. We're going to count what is in each box and then we'll write the answer on top of the box. Are we ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we are going to write our 8. Now let's move on to the next box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we also have 8 here, which means that half of 16 is 8. When you break 16 down, it will be 8. Now you're going to have to find some way to write all this down, but if you have an extra paper, then take your time with your paper. So now we know our answer, we're going to put it by our equal sign. To say that if you break 16 into half, break it into 2 equal parts, one part will get 8 and the other part will also get 8. Take your time with all the sums, boys and girls. Don't rush. And if you did not understand anything, it's okay to ask for help. I will see you just now after our advert break.
Do you have children in the age range of 5 to 6 years and want to participate in our school booklet program? Please contact us on 081 74 3759 and we will put you on our distribution list for the attention of pre-primary schools. Topics include family, summer, culture, traditions and houses, transport and communications, occupations, autumn and more. We distribute countrywide in over 7 different languages.
For our last two exercises, please can you turn to page 29. On page 29, we are going to be talking about 3D shapes in real life. Now the first one that we can see is a cube, and you can see that in real life we actually have cubes. For example, a present that has been neatly wrapped is in the shape of a cube. And then the ABC blocks are also in the shape of a cube. Then you can also see that we have the die. When it's one, we call it a die. And when there are two, we call them dice. Now, I want you to find something in your house that is in the shape of a cube, and make sure that you count how many corners and sides it has. Let's move on to the next shape in our booklet. The next shape that we have is a cone. Now this one is very exciting because a cone can either be up or facing down. In this case, we have an ice cream cone that is facing up. You can see that it has its pointed top at the bottom. So that is our ice cream cone. And then when we sharpen our pencil nicely, the first part where we have the pointed part is in the shape of a cone. Then we have an actual traffic cone. Now these are very important because they tell us whether or not we are allowed in that area. You can see that this one has its pointed top facing up. And last but not least, we have a party hat. Now those are very fun for parties, and it has its top facing up. I also want you to go home and take a look at anything that you might have that has a cone shape. I want you to count the edges, especially the round one and the flat edge at the bottom. Let's now move on to the next shape. The next shape that we have is a cylinder. Now a cylinder can come in a flat cylinder or a long cylinder. We have the two bottles there, the mustard bottle and the tomato sauce bottle. They can come in the shape of a cylinder. Or we can have a tin. In this case, it looks like it's a fish tin. And it can also come in the shape of a cylinder. There's also a battery, and last but not least, cool drink. Now the cylinder is special because it has two flat sides. The top and the bottom are flat with one curved face. I want you to please go and find things in your house that have a cylinder shape as well. Let's now move on to our other shapes. We have a triangular prism. Now a triangular prism can come in the shape of a bus. Can you see the bus? Yes, a big bus can be in the shape of a triangular prism. Or something that we use every day at school, a book. So the book that you read when you're at school is in the shape of a rectangular prism. And then some of you actually have a fish tank at home. Now the fish need a place to stay, and most of the fish tanks that we have are in the shape of a rectangular prism. Last but not least, my children, we have a delicious slice of cake, and that is definitely a rectangular prism. There are many other things that come in the shape of a rectangular prism that you can find at home. I'd like you to please look for them and then count how many equal sides they have, which is different from the cube. Let's now move on to the square prism. Now the square prism is in the shape of many things around the world, not just in Namibia, but all over the world. The first thing that we can observe is the watermelon slice. Now you can see that it has its top as well. We also have the pyramids down below. Now the pyramids are very special because they are landmarks that are found in Egypt. So the way they are built is very similar to a square pyramid. This is where it gets its name from. And then next to it, we have a very famous Eiffel Tower. Now the Eiffel Tower is in France, Paris, and it is very big. From afar, it looks like a square pyramid. And then last but not least, my dear children, we have a hut. Now this hut is very, very special because it is a certain tribe in the world that uses these type of square prisms. So I would like you to try and find other things that have a square prism. Then last but not least, we have our sphere. Now the word sphere might be hard to say, so let us practice it together. Sphere, sphere, sphere. Well done. Now let's take a look at the words that we have, or rather the things we have in real life. The sphere can come in all sorts of shapes, but the one that we have known from a childhood is a round ball. Now that soccer ball and the golf ball are in the shape of a sphere. Many sporting activities have their balls in the shape of a sphere. The other thing that is in the shape of a sphere is a tomato. Now it's not the only type of food that is in the shape of a sphere. We have many other foods, and I'd like you to go and find other foods that are in the shape of a sphere. Now that we are done with our different shapes and we have taken a look at them and named them, let's now turn to page 30. On page 30, you're going to have a special task of counting the number of sides for each shape and the number of angles. Now this means that you need to take your time and count and number them correctly. The sides that they are talking about are the ones that we can actually see. And then the corners are the same as the angles. So wherever you see a corner, there is definitely an angle. You're going to do this for all the shapes on the page. Take your time and make sure you double count. If it's too difficult for you, please ask for help. So I'm going to leave you to do this exercise. Make sure that you do get the correct numbers. And I'll see you soon after our advert break.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
We have now come to the end of our lesson, and remember, boys and girls, if something is too difficult or you didn't understand, you can always ask for help. Now that we are done, it's very important for us to sanitize. Now make sure when you sanitize that you sanitize inside your hands and around your hands and in between your fingers. Well done! I wonder though, Zoshi was supposed to come with me so that we can go and see some traditional dancing. Zoshi, where are you? Hello Zoshi, how are you? That's good. So, from Zoshi and I, we would like to say thank you for joining us today and goodbye!
Our online school will help you along the way. Find us at www.zoshi.online and download the booklet. Follow us on Facebook to never miss a video. Subscribe to our Zoshi Telegram channel if you want to receive daily updates. Proudly sponsored by Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibian Community Trust, UNICEF for Every Child, My Zone Online School, and Amos Meerkat Syllabus.